Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. Barrel Age beer time. Big beer time. Classic beer time? Not necessarily. This beer hasn't been around for a long time, but Delirium has. Delirium Tremens Black, the 2022 edition. This bottle comes courtesy from my boy Jeff, New Jersey brethren. Mr. Gordon, if you're nasty. He decided to send off a big old box of big beers, barley wines, whatnot. This is a blend of Nocturnum and Christmas, I believe. 9 months, I think, in bourbon barrels. But we'll allow it. We'll allow it because it is a very big beer. What do we have going on here? Beautiful bottle. Again, gold on black. They know what they're doing. Limited edition 2022. Just has the name Black up here. That's how you know it's called Black. That's it. Nothing else on the bottle really of note. Just says Belgian ale, 11.5%. It's not a huge beer, and it's imported by BBL Incorporated, Frederick, Maryland. So, yeah, tear this sucker off. Really? It's not the bottle's fault. I'm just incompetent sometimes, most of the time when it comes to removing labels. So we'll see what's going on here. Yeah, I'm kind of in the mood for this. I'm in the mood for something barrel-aged, something Belgian. I picked up something the other day, but it was like wine barrel-aged, and it was quite a bit different. So I want something a little bit more classic, and I'm pretty sure if we're dealing with Delirium here, probably all the classic are belong to us. Let's put it that way. So give it a nice little pour here, because I pour awesomely, as you can see. A little cork action going, because we've got to save all that carb. And yeah, so again, label-wise, art design-wise, I'm digging on it. Beer-wise, I mean, it's a rough pour, but that's more on me than the beer itself. It's a Belgian ale. It's going to have a pretty aggressive head on it to begin with, but it has that just south of malt ball, just north of, maybe closer to khaki-colored head, with this rich, like iced tea, not almost looks like sun tea, like a homemade iced tea kind of vibe to it. So soft little haze to it, brown as brown could be, with little mahogany tones, a khaki colored head, 2 fingers, because it's a Belgian beer, and I got some fly thing bothering me. Anyway, let's give it a whirl, see if we can get a nose. Yeah, sweet malts. Not a huge barrel character on here. Maybe a little bit of sweet spirits, but big sweet maltiness. Nice little kind of extra pop of sweetness. You're assuming you're getting that from some Belgian candied sugar somewhere, but nothing over top. Again, you can't smell sweet, but there's precursors to that. Maybe a little tannic kind of bittering to it, and might be a little bit of spiciness. Might be a little barrel work at play there. But if I'm going to sit here and be perfectly honest with you, I'm not going to get a huge barrel character off of this. It's more just like a richer, darker Belgian kind of ale. A little bit of dark fruitiness, a little bit of richer, little fruit cakiness, if you will. Nice nose, but given this me blind, probably just going Belgian, not really going a barrel-aged beer. But noses can be a little bit deceiving at times. So let's just dive in, see what we've got going on. Cheers, y'all. Really carbonated. So maybe the pour wasn't all on me. Yeah, aggressively carbonated. So I think it does the beer a little bit of a disservice. Because, I think carbonation, if I'm going to ever skew in one direction or the other, I probably want a skosh overcarb than a skosh undercarb. I'm not talking skoshes here. I'm talking a hyper-aggressive carbonation. That kind of tempers a little bit of the richness and deliciousness of what this beer would probably be if it had a little less kind of carbonation. I almost wish I had a little bit of like salt or something like that floating around where I could just throw it in there, knock out a bit of that carbonation, and see where this beer kind of goes. Because it just has these rich notes to it. You definitely tell there's some kind of barrel aging going on. There's some kind of whiskey component going on. Bourbon, I don't think so. It comes off more just like Canadian Irish whiskey-esque kind of vibes to it, but nothing too over the top, nothing too aggressive. Brings a little bit of sweetness to it, a little bit, again, spiciness. Maybe we're talking like a rye whiskey. That could be a little bit barrel char in there too. Again, not omnipresent, but definitely kind of flirting around the edges there. And it's all wrapped in this container that is this blend of a Christmas ale and Nocturnum, which kind of makes sense. It tastes more Christmas ale to me than Nocturnum, so I don't know if the blend on this would be a 50-50 proposition. But in the grand scheme of things, it's a fun beer. It's a fun beer. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's one of the best barrel-aged beers I've had, one of the better Belgian beers I've had, but it's been a while since I've had Delirium. And if we go back to the beginning of this video, the beginning of this conversation, where I said I was looking for just something a little bit more classic and adulty, and that's kind of what we're getting here. Very much a Belgian beer through and through. Give me more of those Christmas vibes than those Nocturnum vibes, but you definitely get a little extra richness to it, whether that's from the spirit, the barrel, or Nocturnum. It's probably a little bit of both, or each. And just really comes down to, I think, it just an over-aggressive carbonation thing that I think just kind of tempers it, because I keep alluding to this, but I don't really break it down, is that, you know, undercarbonated beers, they can have a decent amount of flavor, but they lack a little bit of flavor, because I think you need that carbonation to kind of help spritz and liven up the beer. Overcarbonation is kind of almost the same. There's so much carbonation, it breaks apart the beer, and it feels like there's like less flavor to what the beer could be, because there's almost like a foamy kind of carbonation in your mouth, as opposed to just that nice mixture of the beer and the actual carbonation, to where when it's a little bit over carby, it kind of pushes down a little bit of that kind of explosive factor, the 2x4 to the face, as I want to say. And I think that's where this one really kind of suffers from. Could it be a richer beer? Sure. 11.5% barrel-aged beer. That's not, people can pull that off, but it's a bit easier when you get up there towards 13 or so percent. I think a little bit more time in the barrel would definitely do this a little bit better. I think 9 months is kind of cutting it really close to a bare minimum on a beer. When I say bare minimum, you're talking about lower ABV, not as aggressive beers as Belgian darks and winters can kind of get. So, you know, I want to see this at 12 plus, year and a half minimum, something like this. I think the barrel shows through a little bit more. You knock down that carbonation, the beer comes through a little bit more, maybe even that little high ABV kick, and you got something, you're cooking with fire at that point. But where this sits right now, I picked this up at this price point. I think we're talking for this beer anywhere between 25 to 30 bucks, so you are paying a premium. Would I ever pick this up again? Be hard-pressed to pick it up at that price point. If I found it on sale and it had maybe an extra 3 or 4 years on it and I can get it in the sub-$20 range, absolutely 100%. But here's the thing, and let's cut the chase. It's one of the better Belgian beers I've had as of late. It's in the conversation, not Mount Rushmore status. Barrel-aged Belgians, it almost defaults at the top, but it's a tasty beer. In the grand scheme of things, it's fine. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. But, you know, value and availability is really kind of where it is. I've seen it a lot, but it is quite expensive. And that's price point's kind of killer for me. But if you like what we like this. And I think that's where this beer and its vibes kind of coalesce. If you're a Belgian purist, I think you dig on this beer. I really do. If that's like your jams and that's the only jams you dig on, I think you can find much better in the barrel-aged side of things. I think Chimay is a little bit nicer than this. I think, you know, La Trapp's barrel-aged program is second to none when it comes to Belgian/Trappist breweries. So those are great. But as far as the Belgian barrel-aged beers go, it's quite nice. So yeah, there you go. Reviewing the books. Delirium Nocturnum, or Delirium Black, sorry, by the Huyghe. Huyghe? I want to say Huyghe, but it's in the Netherlands. This is Belgium. Have you been to the brewery? Have you had their beers? Have you had this beer? I'm really curious to see if you've had this beer and what your thoughts are on it. Especially fresh versus new, because we're talking about 2 years on this sucker. Let me know down there. Let's have that conversation. Hopefully you all enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of classic-y kind of beer right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers, y'all.